Hey, what's up? As somebody who's retired from League but wants to play 2x KO, you've already seen this roster, right? Let's just get into it. Okay, Exhibit A and anti-hype. I saw Vi announced. I'm not even particularly mad at Vi. I did see the DNF duel comparison and yikes. Look, I more than anyone understand the spin-off character roster, okay? Arcane is huge. Yeah, they're trying to pull in the Arcane people. I played Ruined King, okay? I get it. Braum, Illaoi, Yasuo, Ahri. Yasuo and Ahri are already super popular, so fair enough, but Ruined King rep, I get it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only one not from a spinoff is Darius, and I don't know, I wouldn't have picked him either. Or, well, honestly, that's the wrong approach too. It's not so much that I dislike Darius or Vi or whatever. Vi makes sense. It just makes a lot of sense. But it's the size of the roster. Let's be real. If I wasn't looking at 8 characters, I don't think I'd care about this at all. Maybe if I had, 40 in a team game. Okay, 40, let's say 40 can't be the launch roster, right? Let's say that. Then I don't know, 20 for a team game? Come on. Okay, that's my real angle here. As a retired League player who still plays fighting games, who played a lot of the spinoffs, TFT, Ruined King, Legends of Runeterra. Runeterra is like the antithesis of Arcane. Arcane was made mundane for the general audience, but League's lore is crazy and Runeterra was going in the right direction there. So let's talk about some characters that could be on this roster. Okay, here's a super obvious one that came to mind. Fizz. Fizz sounds really fun to translate and isn't a human. I don't know what Fizz is right now. Lore changes a lot. What is Fizz? Fizz is a Yordle? I don't feel like that was always like that. Was that always like that? I feel like he and Nami were something else originally. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna say he was some kind of weird Vastayan. I was not expecting Yordle, but there you go. We don't have a Yordle. How? What on earth? And the mechanics that I've seen in this game so far, you can do something with Fizz. I mean, I mentioned the DNF duel thing with Vi. Rivals of Ether exist. Fizz seems like he'd fit right in. There's gotta be some inspiration there, come on. And Fizz wasn't my bias. Here's a bias. Malzahar as a puppet character. I play Zato in Guilty Gear. I think Relius Clover is super cool in Blaze Blue. There's a lot that could be done with Malzahar, like leashing voidlings. I just think it sounds cool. On the subject of puppets, something different, Azir. And we don't have an Ascended yet. So, and there's some Shurima representation. Azir would be a very cool puppet character because I'm picturing it different from how I'm picturing Malzahar. Malzahar, I am thinking like Zato and Eddie, or how I mentioned Relius. When I think of Azir, because of how the puppets are positioned in League, or not puppets, the soldiers, right? When I'm thinking of Azir, the way the soldiers are positioned in League kind of makes me think of Rosalina and Luma in Super Smash Bros. So he could have one that's kind of like his normals, right? There's gonna be one that's just like right next to him, maybe. And then another that he shoots out and it's got a fixed position on screen. I don't know if you want to make that a 2-2 motion, down, down. Hey, editing me cutting myself off. It's been in development so long, I forgot it doesn't have motions. My bad. Okay. Kayn. Kayn would be a cool character to adapt.
Will you prove worthy?
Probably not.
So when I'm picturing Kayn, I'm picturing base form, of course, and then installs. So there'd be one for Shadow Assassin, and there'd be another for Darken. Am I thinking of moves on the fly? No, but Shadow Assassin could be faster, have more mobility. Darken could have maybe more wall bounces, maybe some super armor, something like that. And there you go, Darken rep. So I've been talking rep, and the first thing that comes to mind from Targon is Aphelios. Dude, I mean, okay, think about how we've seen Dante in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Aphelios coming at you with the kitchen sink combo using all the different weapons would be so visually pleasing in a game like this. It would be so cool. Maybe he would have like a lot of different normal strings, and maybe his specials involve swapping to the weapons. So maybe there's like an optimal way you can path between his weapons. So or he could just be a huge skill expression character, just like in League. I think Aphelios would be rad for this game. We need that guy. Speaking of Targon, I'm thinking Pantheon as well. And I mean, and with lore updates, right? He is an aspect, or maybe former aspect. I'd have to check on that. Not the point. The point is, I'm thinking of the stick figure spotlight. And if like passionate League fans can come up with something like that, right? I think his kit in a fighting game could be really inspired. Okay, so piggybacking off of stick figure spotlight, right? First of all, any champion in those, but specifically, I'm thinking of all the BM. So where are my champions that are gonna taunt people and make them baby rage? Where's Ezreal and where's Teemo? Both are super popular and memes in their own right within the community. Teemo also has a spinoff. I mean, Zoner, of course, right? But Teemo could have some very interesting set play implications, right? With the traps. Let's say Teemo and friend are air comboing you or whatever, and then you get knocked down. And then maybe he can have an OTG based on where the trap is at. So beyond just like projectile zoning for Teemo, I think there could be some really cool set play options. For Ezreal, I mean, he's got the E in League, right? So I'm just thinking of like all the mobility. I know this game is going to be funded heavily by cosmetics, just like other Riot games. You know, stuff like Blue Ezreal is so popular, or even how he made use of the crazy jungle items. If he can, if you can utilize something like that, I think that would be pretty cool. Or even if it's like even if the skins, like if Frosted Ezreal gets the blue Ezreal kit enhancements, you know, quote unquote, that would be interesting. And okay, so for Ezreal, I don't doubt that he's gonna be in. I obviously assume he's gonna be DLC, but I'm just thinking out loud, you know? Okay, so we just talked about Kayn, right? Dude, pick a ninja. Any ninja. I'm biased towards Shen. Shen would be my favorite. I think realistically speaking, Shen would be the least likely to get in, and I'm okay with that. Akali, super obvious, right? KDA, I feel like all of KDA will be in this, no matter what. I'm not worried about that. I think Akali will be in. Zed's very cool. When I'm picturing Shen and Zed, I'm picturing like Mortal Kombat style, like, or ooh, better yet for this game, Battle for the Grid. I'm picturing like Adam in Battle for the Grid teleporting mid combo. I think Shen and Zed would be so cool. But also, Kennen exists. There's another non-human Yordle. And with the tag mechanics, if it works like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where let's say you're hitting somebody and your teammate can tag in, and I'm thinking of like the double battles, right? Kennen has some potential with the lightning, with the stuns. I like the idea of that. So yeah, please pick a ninja. Pick any ninja. They're cool. Pick one. Oh, and I meant to bring this up after Aphelios because I mentioned the kitchen sink, but I went on a tangent. Samira is a must for a game like this. They already have the smoking sick style, you know, meme in League, I want to see those combos. And you know, speaking of Samira, Soul Fighter in general. In fact, if they want to save it and then have maybe a Soul Fighter event, because Viego is also a must. If they want to save it and have a Soul Fighter event, and then there's the characters, and then maybe like a battle pass for the skins or whatever they're gonna do, I could see that too. But yeah, Samira, Viego, please. If Viego had like a command grab and he's like,
surrender yourself,
and rips some of your moveset out of you, like Shang Tsung style or something, that would be so cool. Or even if he like is just like a high skill ceiling, just crazy skill cap character, and that command grab just turns him into you. I don't know. Or like there could be two versions of it, right? Something. Love Braum more than the next guy. But since I have been bringing up the fact that everyone is just from a spinoff, Braum being the Freljord rep is pretty weak, I'm not gonna lie. Not saying Braum is weak, Braum is really cool lore-wise, but let's talk about that. Freljord in general, since they had like so many updates all at one time, Freljord is a crazy, powerful region. Such an interesting region. So many godlike beings, and there's a lot. I know people have been complaining about the human aspect of a lot of characters. There are so many monstrous beings you could pull from. There's Ornn, Volibear, Anivia, but also, I don't know, pick a sister. Hello, where are they at? So, Ashe, who again, obviously, I know Ashe is going to be in this game, okay? I know Ashe will be in eventually, but you hear me, right? Sejuani, we don't have a mounted option yet. Sejuani would be cool. My bias out of the three of them, Lissandra. Love Lissandra. You get the idea, right? In fact, it's so team focused, right? Maybe some kind of synergy. Maybe some kind of stacking Braum type passive. You know, something like that. On the less than human aspect, an event where we have Rengar versus Kha'Zix. That sounds cool. That just makes sense, right? I don't know. Let's say you have faction points and you could be like Team Kha'Zix and Team Rengar. And since I'm assuming this is like such a live servicey game, you know, I think things like this could provide some incentive for people who don't just play fighting games, because okay, bear with me. I don't think this game is gonna be as successful as people think because it's a fighting game. I think there's gonna be a lot of psychology that goes into the League player base that's gonna make most of them not want to play this game long term. So something like this Rengar Kha'Zix event, something where it's kind of like a group effort, like your faction, you log in, you play this many matches, you do this many game modes, you know, something like that would be really cool. Like I said, I'm just thinking out loud. Like I also said, I do really want to play this game. So I'm not full on hating. I promise I'm not full on hating. It's just that for them to have one more character than was in the game last Evo, that's very concerning, right? I hope you heard me out. I just had fun yapping about it. Like I said, ideally, they're just gonna keep churning out champions for this because it's very live service. I hope they go very Riot Gamesy and just have like a ton of champions over time. I hope. I don't know much about the new champions after I stopped playing too. So Briar, Aurora, Renata Glask, So tell me who's a huge fan favorite I missed. Tell me who you would want to see in this game. I hope this game hits the ground running. I hope everyone's hyped to play it. Let me in that beta. All right, I'll catch you guys later.